Welcome to Scale Your Sales podcast. I am your host, Janice B, the customer growth expert. I am thrilled to have you join me today as we welcome in the new year. On Scale Your Sales podcast, we are all about delving into strategies that help you scale your sales, grow your revenue, and place your customer at the heart of every single interaction. But today, we're taking a slightly different approach. Have you ever wondered what one thing you would take with you if you were deserted on a desert island? Yep, completely deserted. That's exactly the question I posed some of my incredible guests on Scale Your Sales podcast in the past year. Their answers have been fascinating, thought-provoking, and often surprising as well. While some are practical and focused on survival or escape and others leaned into creativity and fulfillment and the books that they would read, and some revealed deep personal and aspirational sides to themselves. This question brings us back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. What we value at the core when all the layers of professional life is stripped away. And that's why I love to ask my guests these questions and listen to their response, because it gives a glimpse into the human side behind the business brilliance and reminding us of all the diversity of thought and character that drives success. So let's dive into today's episode of Scale Your Sales podcast and cover what truly matters when life is distilled back down to the essentials. Stick around, because at the end, I'll be sharing my own answer to this very question, the desert island dilemma. I'd love to hear yours too.
I'd probably want a really good book. I find that one of the things I'm in school right now, full-time. I'm an executive MBA student at the University of Virginia, incredible program. And I also am working full-time and running my own business and have 3 children and all these other things. And so for the early part of my life, reading was something that was incredibly painful. I didn't read until I was 8. It was very difficult for me. And I came into reading later in life. And so I have found some of the most fiction to be just an incredible way to escape. So I think if I were on a desert island by myself, I would want something fictitious to lift me off and take me someplace else.
I would take a book, and the book that I have on my nightstand, a client actually recommended to me, is called The Women. I love to read. And I feel like because of technology and just work and work life, I have not read anywhere near as much as I used to read. And I just need to, I need to give my brain some brain juice. And that's what I would take, a book.
It would be a book that makes me think, not something to absorb for entertainment. Yeah, make me think. There's a great book I read many, many years ago called Think on These Things by J. Krishnamurti. It's got all these things in there. It's like, hey, I never thought of that. Like, that's something to ponder. So yeah, so that'd be good. I'd like that.
I think I choose multi-tool. Yeah, you have a knife, you have, yeah. I feel like a knife is very important if you're on a desert.
I'm gonna say a tarp. I imagine if I'm on a desert island, I'm thinking like Robinson Crusoe. There's trees, there's coconuts, there's probably rocks, things that I can fashion into knives, weapons, axes, whatever. But water collection is going to be really important. And I can use that tarp for collecting dew in the morning. I can use that for shelter. Like there's, it's multifaceted.
It's funny, I didn't grow up like this, but I have a multi-tool that I've had for a couple of years. It just sort of showed up in my life one day. I needed it for something and I hang on to it now. I've found that that's sort of my go-to in terms of a tool, because it's got, scissors and a little knife blade and some, like a little wrench on it, like all the little things that I could use to, make a fire and build a fort or whatever and survive. But I think I would want, if I'm on the desert island, a way to communicate with my family more than anything, even if it means that I'm there by myself. So call it a cell phone or a sat phone or whatever, but my family is very important to me. And so while I might have to build a tent from scratch, if you will, I'd rather have a lifeline to them to at least, hear their voices and share stories.
I would bring a satellite phone so I could call out and get picked up.
Oh, I'd probably take Karen Slafford with me because she's so resourceful and she's such a love, and she is just such a fun, amazing person to go. And then of course I take my kids, because my kids are a blast, and they are the two people, they're my why, they're the two people I just love to hang out with, and we all just have so much fun together. So I think I'd take those two.
Netflix, because everything in the world learn about history and what's happening in the world, and documentaries and all the stuff that I like. And then you have the fun stuff, and then you have the movies. And so as long as it have some sort of touch, right, with the outside world in it, I may switch it to Wi-Fi, but that would probably be the one thing, because you can still be connected no matter what.
One thing, and again, let's assume it's not technology where I would be connected with people and I don't have internet. I would likely take at Desert Island, assuming that I would actually take a fishing rod. I love to fish, and it would also be on a desert island. It would be a way for me to be able to at least eat. So I would be able to hit two birds with one stone. I would be able to do what I love to do when I'm not working, and there's something about the puzzle piece of fishing that I absolutely enjoy, because it's not just put a worm on a hook and fish. There's always, okay, this bait might not be working. It might not be the right position, time of day. So where on the island would I would go? So I enjoy that whole process. I do enjoy when I have a fish on the line, and I also love to cook. So all of this, I'd get a fishing rod.
I would bring a fire starter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've watched that show Naked and Afraid religiously, and I have quantified this down to they are successful when they can make fire, and they are not successful when they can't make fire. It comes down to like being able to cook food, clean water, keep bugs and predators away. Like the key to all of it is fire. And so I would bring a fire starter, hands down.
So I would take not a piece of rope, but a reel of rope, because when I'm not talking about social media, I am sailing, I have a boat, I've sailed most of my life. So I know a lot of different knots. Ropes are amazing at being used for all manner of things. And I think I could possibly keep myself alive with a piece of rope.
The thing I've landed on is definitely my greenhouse. So my wife and we're kind of like vegetable and fruit geeks now. I think we could definitely be called that, in that we've done 18 types of tomatoes this year, although they're not ripe yet because there's been no sunshine. So I think if I could lift up my greenhouse and desert island, it would do a couple of things. It would keep me very happy and occupied, but it would also feed me. So I think I'd definitely go with the greenhouse.
Cup of tea. I mean, it's probably about 5 things you need, because you need a kettle, you obviously need the water, I need some agar nectar, some milk, a teaspoon, and a cup of tea is like a godsend to me. It's what keeps me calm. It's the answer to all my problems. I drink far too much of it, but yeah, I'm a Yorkshire lass, so a cup of tea.
Maybe a set of fins so I can go body surfing.
Thank you for joining me in this first episode of Scale Your Sales podcast in 2025. Isn't it fascinating how one simple question, what would you take on a desert island, can reveal so much about a person? I hope you found it fascinating too. From practical solutions to creative aspirations, my guest's answers reminds us all of the incredible diversity of human perspective. This was the very reason why I created Scale Your Sales podcast, to hear a diversity of views and perspectives, and to lift the profession of sales and the aspirations of revenue generating organizations. What I've learned from asking this question is that scaling sales, building businesses, driving revenue is all connected to the core of who we are as humans. When we understand our own values and motivations, along with our revenue generators, the people within our team, really understanding them, and as well as our customers, only then can we make a collective impact that that our values and motivations are all aligned through those three elements: ourselves, the people we work with, our sellers, and our customers. Our values and our motivations have to be aligned. Now, I did promise to share my answer, didn't I? So if I was on a desert island, I'd take with me an endless supply of music. My thoughts are that I figure I could craft a knife and a shelter. I could use leaves to collect water, flint to make fire, all of the essentials. But what would create endless mood enhancement and company is music to me. I love music. I absolutely love music. And music is like a poem. It's like words. It can completely change your mood. And I can imagine on the desert island dancing away to myself, singing to some of the lyrics and music from around the world. So that's what I would take on desert island. Not necessarily practical, but I'm a practical person. So I think I'll need that for company and mood enhancement. So I'm really interested, how would you answer that question? What would you take on a desert island if you were on your own? I would love to hear the answers to your questions. So let me know. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Janice B. Gordon. Share your thoughts with the Scale Your Sales community. If you were on a desert island, what would be the one thing you would take with you? If you enjoyed this episode, please do subscribe, leave a review on iTunes and share it with your friends, family, and colleagues. Do not forget, you can view Scale Your Sales podcast show on our YouTube channel, Janice B. Gordon. Together, we can continue to learn, grow, and scale your sales in ways that make a real difference. Next time on Scale Your Sales podcast, I look forward to hosting a guest and sharing their insights with you. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. I have a lot of exciting guests coming up in 2025. I'd love to hear from you. Please do leave a review. Please do comment on the weekly episodes of Scale Your Sales podcast that's launched on LinkedIn. Thank you.